Hey Fox, I've been following your feud with Jon Stewart and have noticed you've been under attack a lot lately for your mistakes, inaccuracies, and misinformation. So I wanted to empathize by honing up to a few of mine that I also made recently when I discussed my personal opinion about the Sean Hannity show in my last vlog. First, I'm pretty sure I got Doug Schoen's last name wrong. I mean, it took me all of 2 minutes to dig up a video with the correct pronunciation afterward, but what can I say? Perhaps in a twist of irony, making that mistake serves me right. So Doug, I just wanted to say that my attack was nothing personal and that I think you are a likable personality and that you are special. When it comes to politics, however, you might as well go on the Hannity show wearing face paint and a Speedos because that's how ridiculous that show looks like to me. And I also feel bad that line about Rupert Murdoch being up at late night sweating comment I made. You see, I actually intended to use that on Glenn Beck at one time to illustrate that just because he can get away with discussing more controversial topics doesn't mean that he also doesn't have to play by a certain amount of rules to work at Fox. But we will see how things change once he parts ways. Right, Glenn? Now, getting back to the second mistake, I also have to apologize to Tucker Carlson because I implied that he's not controversial enough. That, of course, also later turned out to be false, as Tucker actually has had several moments of controversy. Unfortunately, they were not exactly in a positive and innovative kind of way, like, wow, if we would have only listened to Tucker Carlson this whole time. But don't worry, Tucker. I don't think you're a bad guy. I mean, how can I dislike a guy who reminds me of a real-life Alex Keaton? Now, Tucker, I also have to say something for the record. You are special. And Fox News, speaking of the Hannity show, I'm curious about a hypothetical experiment. Why don't you try moving Hannity over to Fox Business for a while? Not only would it give you a boost in credibility, in an addition by subtraction kind of way, but it brings up the bigger question. Since Fox Business is a premium channel, would people actually pay to watch the Hannity show? Sean, I know I said I wasn't on a personal vendetta, but sorry, looks like I left some loose ends last time. And I'm also not exactly sure if you and Karl Rove have ever really had a secret meeting in Bohemian Grove, but I guess you could say that I just wanted to bring the subject to attention. And Fox, whatever happens with Jon Stewart, you can pretend all you want, there's no bias, and you can weasel yourself out of every legality. But it's irrelevant because no matter what, you will always be guilty of being lame, cartoonish, and for just, well, sucking in general. Okay, Fox, after Hannity, what else have you got left for me to go Jedi on? Fred Flintstone and the Talking Dinosaur? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Brett Baer and Charles Krauthammer. Nah, that's too easy. So wait, there is one more pundit that I have to have a talk with. Count Dooku. Damn it, I meant Bill O'Reilly. Hey Bill, did you know that we are only 2 months away from the 10-year anniversary of 9/11? I mention this because I've been watching some of your videos about it, and I made a few observations. Bill, I've been noticing that you really like to use government facts to intimidate people by treating all contrary opinions as conspiracy theories. Bill, I don't know if you've noticed, but the government doesn't exactly have that much credibility anymore. Therefore, when you take government word as gospel and then use those non-debatable facts to bully people around with, you also destroy your own credibility in the process. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just expose your little magic trick? But getting back to 9/11, however, Bill, I actually wrote a blog about 9/11 a while back entitled Jesse Ventura, the Pentagon, and 2.3 trillion reasons why we should have a new investigation into 9/11, in which I believe there are too many, we'll call them unanswered questions. Which is cool. I'm sure the government has absolutely nothing to hide. But let's look at it from your perspective, shall we? You know, I noticed one video in particular where you berated former Professor Jim Fetzer for simply saying, "We've created an organization consisting of experts and scholars, pilots, engineers, physicists, etc." Now, Bill, that sounded compelling to me, but you actually had the audacity to call him a nut? So, Bill, are you really suggesting that all scholars, architects, and engineers for 9/11 truth, as well as myself, are all liars and nuts? Really, Bill? Are you instead suggesting that, we should believe Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, and some multi-million-dollar corporate-controlled news bully instead? Seriously? Also, doesn't it seem like the people that think 9/11 truthers are kooks also haven't done a single shred of research into 9/11 truth either? Think about that. How many former truthers are really out there? How many well-informed 9/11 researchers have really studied both sides of the argument and honestly determined that the government's version of the story was the one that was more believable? Not too many, are there? But I'm not here to put you on the spot, Bill. And I know we can both agree that we are both entitled to our opinions. So I want to offer a proposal instead. Let's pretend that everyone is wrong about 9/11, including you and me, and start from scratch with a big new investigation instead. Top researchers and experts from both sides of the argument, televised for the whole world to see, going over every detail until we arrive at the absolute truth. Because, Bill, whether or not you agree with my version of the events that day or not, the fact is that 9/11 issue is still dividing the nation. I mean, wouldn't we be much stronger if we were joined together? And Bill, at the end of the day, I just want to be right. If I'm wrong about 9/11 and the government is being truthful, I want to offer my apologies and possibly get in the ring with Al-Qaeda myself. Maybe I could even join the military. Have you ever seen the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats? Side issue. But if the government is wrong and 9/11 really was an inside job, then I propose that we immediately end the wars and finally bring all of our troops home. Then we get rid of the Patriot Act and finally put an end to all this TSA insanity. Cool? Anyway, Count Dooku, O'Reilly, like Hannity, I'm glad I was able to finally have this chat with you. I've been watching you and listening to you for a long time, so I felt it was only fair that you could finally have an opportunity to listen to me for a change. And please don't forget, Bill, you are special. All right, everyone. It looks like 4th of July is almost here, and I hope everyone gets a chance to reflect on what Independence Day means in this very challenging time of our history. As for me in this example, Independence Day means the First Amendment and standing up to tyranny. Stop fearing these cartoonish pundits and political bullies. Demand straight answers from your paid servants and let the establishment know where the real power structure begins and ends with this country. And that's with we, the people. Happy 4th. Peace and love.